So this is Max. He's a 13-year-old British sport horse. He was shod last Tuesday, today is Monday, and he didn't look 100% this morning, so we're just going to trot him for you. So you can see on the turn he's a little bit shortened up. So you can see he's not 100% sound. So your first challenge is, which leg is it lame on? So kit that we'll need, we've got some hoof testers here, so we're going to see where the sensitivity is in his foot, because he has got a little bit of heat in his foot and a slight digital pulse. I've got a pad, a nappy, an animal intex, bit of plastic and a vet wrap. So first of all I'll do the hoof testers. Between your knees like a farrier would. Unfortunately we have small hands, so it's quite difficult to use hoof testers. But basically what you're doing is going around, squeezing the hoof, seeing if you've got any kind of sensitivity there, which he hasn't. You have to put quite a bit of pressure on, especially if they've got good feet like he has. Okay, we're not really getting anything there. The other thing we can do is just tap the nails. Sometimes if you have a tight nail, that can manifest itself. Give the back of the shoe a tap, because if you've got anything like a corn. So we're getting a very little bit of a reaction there, more than anywhere else on the foot, but not a huge reaction at all. Other thing to look for is things like cleft heels, so sheer heels going through here. If there was a split and a bit of grit or anything got into there, that could be an issue. So we're not getting a huge amount of positive on the hoof testers. So what we're going to do is we are going to poultice it just to see if there's any kind of sensitivity that we can just cure, really. So I'm going to poultice that back quarter of the foot, because that was a little bit where he gave me a bit more of a response. So I've boiled water, okay, out the kettle, so it's sterile, had it in a clean bowl, what would I say if I could speak? Then I use a baby's nappy, okay, so this is the easiest way of doing it. They're really good hoof size dressings, and you've got your ready-made tapes, which are really good. Now because he has a shoe on, I will put another bit of padding over the top, because otherwise what you tend to find, well, put a padding on there because he has got a shoe on. So it's just a case of, when you find yourself a decent roll of bloody vet wrap that works, then getting the base of the foot covered. Because obviously you're working onto the horn of the hoof, you don't need to worry too much about if you've got any lumpy bumpies. Okay, and then if I can have some tape, I'll chuck me the silver tape. Okay, and then what we do is we tape the toe. He is going back in the stable. If he was going out in the field with this, I would tape it up really well, but because he's just going back in the box, we'll just tape the toe, because that tends to be, if they paw, they'll get you. Okay, so that's your little foot poultice. You would be changing that. We'll change that later on tonight. Just take that. Okay, so he'll go to bed in another one. Fortunately, the farrier is coming tomorrow, so we'll get the farrier to do a foot search. Hopefully, just by softening that up with a bit of heat and a poultice, we might actually start to find out what's going on, whether it's just a little bit of bruising or whether there is an abscess brewing there. There you go. Now I'll demonstrate a bit of a homemade Robert Jones now. So whenever you're doing any kind of bandaging, just tie a knot in your tail, makes life a lot easier. So your Robert Jones tends to be what your horse comes back with when it's been to the vet. So usually you'll have stitches, or it'll be an operation site or something underneath, and then they'll have loads of padding, loads of gamgee. Then usually there'll be a fine crepe bandage over the top of that, and then vet wrap. But because I'm refusing to use vet wrap, I'm going to use tail bandages. So basically with your Robert Jones, it's a lot of padding. Obviously you're always going to go back towards the tail. Try and get your creases to the side where you start your bandage, and then just wrap this as tight as you can. Okay, so we're just going to do a small one, but you can have them, or you'll see on your papers that Alison set you, you could have them right up to the stifle with external splints as well, so they can be quite big. So we're going to use a towel bandage because that's about the closest you get to a vet wrap. And you want to pull it fairly tight because we've got quite a lot of padding going on there. And what you tend to find is the padding compresses. So if you don't do it tight enough, you'll end up with a bandage that will slip and cause you problems because it's slipped. Okay, so they use loads and loads and loads of rolls of bandages when they do this. I'll pop another one on. Rolled up very sockily. So this is just to give you an idea of sort of how firm it is. Now the idea with the Robert Jones, as well as all the padding, is when it actually goes over a joint, it disencourages the horse, if you like, to move too much. So then you've got a horse that you're hopefully starting to immobilise a little bit as well. So just do that. Okay, so you can see it's fairly firm. As a surgical bandage, it can come right up to here and it can have external fixation. It's usually a bandage that's going to be left on for a bit of time. So if you've got stitches or staples underneath, then it could be on for about 10 days while they're settling. I've had a horse with a fractured pastern bone that had one on for, I think it was 2 months, and that we didn't take it off at all. So you do want to make sure you get it right first time and you're quite firm with it, but lots and lots and lots of padding. Okay, next bandage we'll do is a knee bandage. So this is basically a figure of 8 bandage, and it would be used if you were holding on something like an ice pack onto a knee, or if you had a horse that had fallen and tripped on the roads, excuse me, broken its knees. And broken knees doesn't mean it's broken bones, it just means it's broken the skin. So when you do a figure of 8, Max is just approving whether he likes the pad or not. Important thing is that you don't bandage over the pisiform bone. Okay, this is like a little polo mint type bone at the back where all the tendons and everything run through. If you do bandage over that, you'll blow up the knee. When you're bandaging, a figure of 8 bandage can also go on the hock, and when you're bandaging the hock, you want to make sure you don't put the pressure on the back there, or a little bit for me as well. I tend to sort of not put the pressure on that medial aspect, the pointy, sticky outy bit aspect of the hock, because if you think wherever you've got a sticky outer bit, you've got a bursal cushion, so you're going to end up with a bursal enlargement if you put pressure on it. Okay, so put your knee in the middle of your pad, have a little fiddle about with the pad, see which way around goes best. And then because of the fact that obviously the leg goes from fat to thin, you do have to fiddle about with your padding. Again, you've got your joins at the side. I'm using a towel bandage so you can get it fairly firm. This is also a stage 4 bandage for those of you that are thinking of doing your BHS exams. So where you take your cross, scare it up there, where you take your cross, you can take it to the side or you can take it to the front. Okay, it's going to be easier for you guys to see on the video if I take it to the side. So what I do, this is very un-BHS, I put the bandage in my mouth as I'm sorting this out. You can also hear the cat that's come to join in. So what I'll do is I'll take it a little bit there, hello Margaret, and then round the bottom. So I've fiddled about with the bottom so we haven't got any wrinkles or lumps or bumps, okay? And then I'll take it, my cross has ended up slightly at the front. I'll take it up again and bring it round again. And I might just take it down one more. Okay, and then if you're gonna use something like a tail bandage, I'll show you how to do a flat knot. Some of you might remember this from the first year, but if you do a knot and then go round again, and then a knot, and then go round again, it gives you a knot that's very flat, so that again, you haven't got pressure points. You don't want a nice big bow on the side of your medical bandage. Everyone will laugh at you. Okay. Pussycat. Okay, so don't worry about bits sticking out the side, the padding's got to go somewhere, but basically it's quite a firm bandage because you don't want it to slip down, and if you're doing a BHS exam, a nasty examiner will come along, grab it, pull it down, and they'll try and get it to come down. But this kind of thing, if you were just holding an ice pack on, you'd only hold it on for 15-20 minutes anyway, so it's not going to be on there a long time. If you had a horse that had had joint surgery, maybe a blackthorn out of its knee or something like that, then you probably would have a neoprene knee dressing, which would come about this deep and would have a zip in it that you'd actually get from the vets anyway, so that makes life a lot easier. You don't have to do these things. Okay, so that's your figure of 8 bandage, which you can use on your knees or your hocks.